Greetings from the Hike Slam Stealth Fighter Hobo 1. Today, we're going to be talking about stealth camping. Strap yourselves in. Stealth camping is a term for camping where you're not supposed to be camping. Oftentimes, stealth camping comes out of necessity. You took a wrong turn and missed the campsite, and the sun is disappearing fast. Or the maps you were using weren't clear, and camping's not allowed where you thought it would be. You could also be in an unfamiliar city with no money and no place to go and just need a place to lie down for the night. Or you might be out hitchhiking and just want to have the thrill of camping where it's illegal or at least frowned upon. Or you could just be homeless and need somewhere to sleep. In any event, stealth camping can be scary, uncomfortable, exciting, and even dangerous. Well, that was the intro. Let's get started. First, some basic gear choices that will make stealth camping a little bit easier. Muted colors for your sleeping bag, bivvy, or tent can be huge when stealth camping. If you want to go all pro, you could pick up some camo netting or something. Most camping gear sold in modern times is bright orange, yellow, or red. I have two tents, an orange one and a green one, but I have a camouflage tarp that I often use as a ground cloth. If I'm in my base gear with the orange tent and I need to stealth camp, I could just toss the ground cloth over the top and suddenly I blend right into the forest. Or I could forget the tent altogether and just burrito myself up in the ground cloth. I could also just burrow into some leaves or toss some shrubbery on me or something. But whatever you do, just have fun, but remember, don't get caught. Hey Samantha, did I ever tell you the time I slept in that median above the highway in St. Louis? We slept with our faces jammed up against this fence. It was ridiculous.
Yes, you told that story yesterday.
Yeah, okay. It's getting a little warm in here. Can we increase the air conditioning, please?
Increasing air conditioning.
Thank you. Samantha, shut that alarm off. I'm trying to think.
Velocity too high to maintain stealth signature.
I built this ship myself. You don't think I know that? Here's what we'll do, Samantha. We'll come in hot, and I'll do a barrel roll to avoid the radars. All right, let's boogie. Suburban stealth camping is the meat and potatoes of secret camping for most drifters and hobos. Some places I've stealth camped on hiking or hitchhiking adventures include in the woods a couple of dozen times, in the woods behind a school baseball field, in the woods behind a school, behind the sign of a building or strip mall a number of times, under a bridge a number of times, on the beach, on an island in a small lake, on the grass near an industrial park, in the woods behind a Burger King, in the woods behind a gas station, under a highway overpass, on a hill next to a highway overpass a number of times, on a construction site, in a Home Depot parking lot near some display sheds, and many, many more. On my hitchhiking trips, there were a number of times when we would just lay down on the grass near the highway on-ramp or overpass. This is stealth because headlights are focused on the road, and no one's looking up there anyway. And without a tent, just wrapped in a waterproof blanket, we probably just looked like a pile of trash. Come to think of it, we did sleep in trash bags for a couple of nights. I don't recommend it. Very sweaty. If you have a little time to explore before dark, you can sometimes find an amazing spot, like the time we found the spot on the island in the middle of the lake. However, if you arrive in town as the sun is going down, the camp spot you settle on might not be so grand. Avoid private yards if possible. If you're in what feels like a safe area, a great spot can usually be found behind the signs for neighborhoods or developments. You can usually tuck yourself in behind a couple of bushes, near or behind the sign, and fall asleep on some soft mulch. Another great option along these same lines are the signs for office buildings like you might find near an industrial park. The signs for shops and malls can work too, but these are likely to have security around and more local bum activity. Speaking of local bum activity, to remain unseen by authority figures and other vagrants, thinking outside the box is always helpful. Before you lay down your bedroll, look around. Are there signs of bum activity? Signs of bum activity include, but are not limited to, beer cans, booze bottles, snipes, roaches, needles, tarps, soiled clothing, bum-sized depressions in the soil, cardboard or string attached to the trees, glowing eyes in the darkness, remnants of past campfires, and just an overall sadness in the air. If you see any of these signs, it's a good indication you should find a different campsite. However, if you really like the spot and you want to establish a local stronghold, you may consider contacting a licensed bum hunter. But that's a topic for a different video. One place to try would be the rooftops of commercial buildings. Commercial buildings usually have flat roofs with parapets that will shield your slumber from inquiring eyes. These buildings usually have exterior ladders that you can use to get on the building. Most times the ladders start off high off the ground or have metal cladding to prevent creepers like you from getting up there. Nothing that a little hobo ingenuity can't fix. My go-to for suburban stealth camping would have to be just a small patch of trees that's a little bit out of the way. It seems so simple, but amongst the apartment buildings, houses, 7-Elevens, and Red Robins, the suburbs can usually provide random patches of woods where you can lie down for 4 or 5 hours before the library opens, and you can use the bathroom and the magic of Google Maps to find a truly amazing stealth camp spot for the next night.
Maintenance issue detected.
Maintenance issue? I'm a grown man. Just give me the damn veggies.
Engine on fire.
Yeah, I was afraid of that. Alright, here's what we're going to do. Switching off fly-by-wire control. I'm going to fly by sight. Shut off the overhead display. Shut off the HUD. We're going maximum stealth. No lights in the cabin. I'm doing this one old school. I'll just take this stealth supplement. It'll help increase my reaction speed. If you find yourself in the concrete jungle, traditional camping may be out of the question. One time, while hitchhiking through Louisiana, my friends and I tried to find a place to stealth camp in New Orleans at about 2 in the morning. As we wandered the streets, we were running out of ideas and hope. Then we decided to just lay down on some hobo-sized windowsills of a large downtown office building. While it was far from cushy, the window areas gave us shelter from the rain, and it was amazing to be horizontal for just a little while. The way the windows were positioned, it was hard for a passerby to notice us, especially at night. So even though it was far from comfortable, it worked. There are a lot of places you can just lie down and sleep. Benches, doorways. The trendy thing appears to be just setting up your tent in the middle of the sidewalk. So if this is your jam, go for it. But these are not really stealth. Camping automatically conjures up images of nature, like trees and grass, but finding green space in the city that's not a park is extremely tough. And parks at night in the city can be scary. The out-of-the-way secret spot you scouted earlier in the day could be some other drifter's favorite spot to get crazy at 3 o'clock in the morning. This could lead to a midnight confrontation and/or shanking. So again, take a minute and think like a hobo and not a bum. Is there a tall tree you could shimmy up and hang a makeshift hammock? If you have anything camouflage, like a camouflage jacket or a camo netting, this would be the perfect opportunity to use it. Or if you wanted to get really creative, you could sleep in a trash bag with neon biohazard symbols on it. It would take a brave soul to go poking around a biohazard bag. Even someone who worked for the city as a licensed biohazard cleanup technician person would definitely wait until morning before investigating further. And by then you'll be long gone, miles away in a Jiffy Lube somewhere, enjoying magazines and free coffee. Another pro-level stealth camp technique is to sneak into a movie theater and just sleep in 2-hour increments, enjoying different movies. You could probably also scrounge up some food that's been lying around. Another thing you could do in the city is search for the local university and scope it out for camp spots. Colleges usually have expansive grounds, libraries, and other luxury amenities like flushing toilets. And if you're relatively clean and relatively charming, you may be able to talk your way into some food at the dining hall. And while you're there, keep your ears open for whispers of parties happening later that night. If you can weasel your way into a party, you may find an indoor place to crash, and a hobo's best friend, booze. Whew, alright, that was successful. Hey Samantha, what's our ETA to the next area?
236 minutes.
Nope, unacceptable. We're going to need to remove control rods, increase the power of the reactor up to, 2300 kilojoules.
Sir, your pulse has increased beyond acceptable levels.
Well, Samantha, yeah, you're right. The only way to pull this off is to calm my nerves a little. Alright, dispense an amber ale in a frosted mug.
Amber ale dispensing.
Perfect.
Rural stealth camping zone ahead.
Yeah, sounds great. Engage. Stealth camping in rural areas seems like it would be easier than the urban or suburban settings. Well, not so fast. For example, where I live, there are areas with miles and miles of farms without cover for long stretches of road. Every once in a while, there are a few trees clustered together, but even these areas are parts of farmland and can be really sketchy. Farms are scary because of the animals, equipment, and the farmers. Side note, farmers always have guns. Now, that's not to say you'd be shot, but you'd probably be threatened for trespassing on private property, and no one needs to be woken up that way. Now, I'm not trying to scare you. In most cases, you could probably sneak in just after sunset, and then wait until just before sunrise and sneak out, get a full night's sleep, and no one would bother you. But there are a few things to keep in mind. First, farmers wake up extremely early. Also, irrigation systems can kick on randomly at crazy hours, and you never know when some farm animals might come charging through there and stomp you to death or whatever, because they do whatever they want because they're animals. So where can you camp? Some farmers have a sign inviting people in for tours, or where you can pick apples or pick vegetables, or maybe they have a farm side stand. If you see something like this, it couldn't hurt to go up and knock on the door and ask if they know of a place you can camp. While this isn't technically stealth camping, it could be called freestyle camping. Another stealth camp spot idea in a rural area are campgrounds and RV parks. Now, I know camping in a campground isn't stealth camping. It's just regular camping. But I'm not saying to pay for a spot. I'm saying to camp near the campground. See, campgrounds and RV parks are usually nestled in the trees or in a wooded area. So you can, go off in the woods 30 yards or so and just kind of get behind a big tree and, set up your camouflage tent or crawl in the leaves, something like that, and you'll likely not be spotted. When the camp hosts go around to see who's camping illegally, they're looking for tents, they're looking for cars, they're looking for RVs from people who haven't registered. But if you're 20 yards away in the woods, out of the range of their flashlight where they're not looking anyway, and you put some brush in front of your tent or you're under a pile of leaves, no one's ever going to see you. Something else you're likely to find in a rural area are cemeteries. Now, you'll find these in suburban and urban areas as well, but somehow in the rural areas, they seem to stick out more. Whenever I'm driving down one of these backcountry roads, I see signs for cemeteries. It seems like every few miles. Now, I'm not saying to pry open a mausoleum and set up your bedroll on a rack next to a body, or pitch your tent on a grave or anything like that. But in the woods near cemeteries, you're likely to find a dark, secluded spot that's quiet. Not a lot of people go to cemeteries at night, and you're not likely to have bright lights or cameras or anything like that, so you can probably get a good night's rest without a lot of trouble.